Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Imagine a beautiful, culturally rich land that has literally been forged by its geography and forced into a state of absolute survival. Today, we're unpacking the incredible, turbulent history of Manipur, a region defined by centuries of wars, invasions, and a spirit that simply refuses to break.
So, you gotta wonder, what actually shapes a region's identity? For Manipur, it wasn't just built during times of peace and prosperity. Its strategic location made it a historical crucible, tested and forged in the fires of over 15 major conflicts.
To really get a grip on this complex history, we're going to walk chronologically through 6 defining eras: the Gateway Kingdom, the 7 years of devastation, British rule and resistance, its time as a World War II battlefield, modern challenges and unrest, and finally, the enduring Manipuri spirit. All right, let's jump right into era number 1, the Gateway Kingdom, and the strategic geography of Kongalepak. Think about what a gateway actually means. The earliest records of Manipur place it right at this geographical choke point, a vital gateway connecting South Asia and Southeast Asia. Now, being the gateway is kind of a double-edged sword, right? It brings in incredible trade and wealth, absolutely. But it also paints a massive target on your back. Because, well, everybody wants to control the door.
And man, for hundreds of years, Kongalepak was just completely surrounded by external pressures. They were fighting relentless battles literally on all fronts. You had Burma pushing for territory, Assam fighting over independence, Tripura and Kachar dealing with border disputes, and the Shan states vying for control of those crucial trade routes. It was essentially a centuries-long fight just to exist.
That brings us to our second era, the 7 years of devastation. Easily the darkest chapter in this history.
Just think about that number for a second. 7. For 7 agonizing years, starting with the Burmese invasion in 1819, the region suffered under a brutal, unrelenting occupation.
Locally, this period is remembered as Chayitaret Kuntakaba, the 7 years devastation. And the human toll here was just catastrophic. Thousands of people were killed or enslaved. Countless others had no choice but to completely abandon their ancestral homes, fleeing as refugees into neighboring Assam and Kachar, just to survive.
But, the nightmare did eventually break. In 1824, the First Anglo-Burmese War erupted, and Manipuri forces actually fought alongside the British to systematically drive the Burmese out. This whole effort culminated in the signing of the Treaty of Yandabo in 1826. It finally restored Manipur's independence and kicked off the incredibly tough process of rebuilding from scratch.
Moving right along to Era 3, British rule and resistance, a time defined by defending the homeland.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this resistance flared up across entirely different parts of Manipuri society. On one hand, in 1891, the kingdom itself fought back in the Anglo-Manipur War. Yet heroes like Yuvraj Tikendrajit Singh and General Thungal fiercely defending their sovereignty against the British Empire. Then, jump ahead a couple of decades to between 1917 and 1919, Kuki chiefs in the hill communities launched their own fierce rebellion, the Anglo-Kuki War, specifically resisting the forced recruitment of laborers by the British during World War I. Even though the British ultimately defeated both of these movements, the sheer, extraordinary courage displayed by these patriots is permanently etched into the region's identity. They made massive sacrifices for their homeland, and today, those sacrifices are still honored every single year, through observances like Kanjam Day and Patriots Day. It just goes to show how historical memory really is the bedrock of a community.
Okay, let's shift gears to the 4th era, a World War II battlefield, where Manipur steps onto the global stage.
So remember that gateway geography we talked about earlier? By the 20th century, it wasn't just drawing in neighboring kingdoms anymore. It caught the eye of massive global superpowers. This all came to a head in 1944 with the Battle of Imphal. Manipur literally became the collision point for World War II in Asia. You had the British and Allied armies trying to defend strategic Indian borders, clashing directly against the Japanese army, who, by the way, were supported by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's Indian National Army. Once again, the region was absolutely devastated. Villages were leveled, and everyday civilians were tragically caught in the crossfire.
And look, this wasn't just some minor regional skirmish. It's often regarded as one of the most important battles fought in Asia during the entirety of World War II. It literally shifted the momentum of a global conflict. But of course, it brought unimaginable hardship right to the doorsteps of the Manipuri people. Which brings us to our 5th era, Modern Challenges and Unrest, looking at the complexities post-1947.
Now, you might think that when India finally gained independence in 1947, the era of conflict for Manipur would be over, right? Well, unfortunately, no. Instead, the region entered a highly complex new phase of internal challenges. From 1947 onward, we see the emergence of various insurgent movements reflecting some really deeply held political and social aspirations. By the 1990s, this boiled over into serious ethnic clashes, including the Kuki-Naga and Kuki-Pite conflicts, involving different armed groups. And tragically, this isn't just ancient history. Fast forward to the present day, and Manipur is still grappling with severe ethnic violence and ongoing social unrest.
We don't just look at these facts as historical trivia. We look at them to understand a deeply tragic human reality. Decades of this modern unrest have resulted in a significant loss of life and the massive displacement of entire communities. It's created long-lasting social divisions. But above all, it highlights the desperate, absolutely urgent need for genuine peace, dialogue, and reconciliation among all communities today.
Finally, we arrive at our sixth and final era, the enduring Manipuri spirit, a true story of survival.
Because despite everything we've just covered, centuries of war, decades of unrest, the core identity of this beautiful region has never broken. Just step back and look at the grand scope of it all. Manipur has survived more than 15 major wars, invasions, and rebellions. Surviving that sheer volume of historical trauma, that takes a staggering, almost unimaginable level of determination. Ultimately, the story of Manipur is so much more than just a ledger of battles. It's a profound testament to the remarkable resilience and courage of its people. The true legacy here is a rich, enduring cultural heritage that simply refuses to fade. It's a powerful narrative of survival over subjugation and a deep, deep respect for the ancestral sacrifices that kept the region alive.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really chew on. We've seen a region endure centuries of struggle and display centuries of incredible survival. How can the memory of such immense historical resilience guide us in building a more peaceful future? How do we use that memory to finally break the cycle of conflict? Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep asking questions, and as always, keep exploring.